So today we're going to be making this folio style Christmas card, held together with a little closure. There are plenty of surfaces inside for you to decorate how you want. There's a nice tag in there that you can pop a sentiment or a message or a photograph on. Nicely decorated front and back. Super easy project for when you want something that's a little bit more special than your normal Christmas card. So I'll move this out of the way and we'll get on with showing you how it's made. For the project today, I've based my colour palette around this pad of little toppers that I've got. This is by a company called Paper Boutique. It's a UK company. Not entirely sure whether they do sell overseas or not, but they are quite popular here in the UK. But these are just little 5 by 5 inch papers, and they're really great just for making quick and easy cards. But I like the sentiments, I like the images, and I liked the colours that are in this. And I'm going to use some of these to decorate my little card today, and have just chosen some other random bits of Christmas paper that have been in my stash for years. Really, I've had them such a long time, and a couple of pieces of cardstock that also coordinate as well. These are 12 by 12 inch pieces of cardstock. Now, you do not have to use these pieces of paper. Use whatever you've got. Choose some colours that coordinate. If you don't have a little set of toppers, you may have stickers. You might have some scrapbook papers that have the designs that can be cut apart into smaller pieces. You can use stamped images. There's lots of ways to decorate this, to customise and work with whatever that you've got. As always, I sort of always try and emphasise that you do not have to do this with the exact products that I'm doing. This template will work with lots and lots of other things. So to begin with, I'm going to move those ones just out of the way, and I've chosen this deep teal colour for the main part of the background of this card, and this is a 12-inch square piece of cardstock. And we're going to begin by scoring it in half at 6 inches. This is the Hunky Dory Adorable Scoreboard. If you've got like a Score Pals scoreboard or Hoogie board, any of them, that'll take a piece of 12-inch card and has got inch measurements, will be absolutely fine. So we're going to score that in half at 6 inches. And then we're going to turn it, and I'm going to score from the top as far as this score line that I've just done at 3 inches and 9 inches, but only halfway, just down to this score line that we've done. So scoring at 3 inches to that centre fold line, and at 9 inches to that centre fold line. So now what I want you to do is turn this whole piece of cardstock the other way up, and we're going to score it at 3 1/4 inch and 8 3/4 inches. So we're just moving basically these two score lines into the centre, and again only going down as far as this halfway point. So 3 1/4 inches just to that centre score line, and 8 3/4 inches down to that centre score line. And if I turn it back round again, we're going to get rid of these two bottom sections. We're just going to cut them away. Just following along the score lines that we've just drawn. You can use a knife and a ruler if you prefer, or if you're happy to use scissors, just use scissors. And cut up that line to that centre score line. And remove that corner. And just repeat that on the other side. I'm just going to pop those to one side for now. Don't throw them away, we will need those. Basically what we've done here is created our centre pocket. And the reason that we've cut that a little bit further in is so that there is room for things to fold over without there being too much bulk on that fold. So on this little centre flap that we've got here, I want to cut it just a little bit shorter so that it's not sticking out any, and it just tidies it up basically. And the easiest way to do this, you can either get a pencil and a ruler, or while we've got the scoreboard out, we'll just use that. I'm just going to score at 1/4 inch and remove that strip there. And now when this is going to be stuck on here, it's going to be nicely just inside that back and just framed off tidily. The next thing I want to do is just find the centre point of this flap here. And as the whole flap is 5.5 inches, the centre point will be 2 3/4. So I'm just going to make a little pencil line there, and I want to make a notch because we're going to have a tag in this little pocket, and it'll be easier. It just looks nice and it's easy to get them in and out with a notch. So I've got a circle punch here. This is an 1.5 inch circle punch. And I'm just going to line it up so that that pencil mark is in the middle, and just cut a little notch out. And I always just think that makes for a nice professional looking pocket in the centre there. So the next thing we want to do is get back our 2 pieces that we cut away. And these are 3.25 inches by 6 inches. And down the long length of each side, I want to make a score mark 1/4 inch. And one of these is going to become a tab, and the other one is going to be cut away. So just scoring 1/4 inch in on both sides. And again, you can go and get your guillotine, or you can use a knife and a ruler, or if you want, just use your scissors. And just remove one of those strips, leave the other one on, that's going to become our tab. So we're going to fold along that other score line. And this is going to allow us to create an extra little flap on either side inside our little card. And if we bring back our card base here, now we're going to attach these so that they just fit around the edge of that inner pocket. And that way we've still got space for this outer flap to fold down. There's no bulk, it's not going to bind up on that fold. And our little tab will be hidden because this pocket's going to be glued in place. So taking some glue or some strong double-sided tape, this is my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, which I've put in one of these fine nozzle bottles. The links to these are in the Amazon storefront in the description below. And just using this pocket as a guide as to where you want to place it. Just press that down. Doesn't take long for this glue to stick. So that's one side, and again pop some glue or tape along that tab. and lining it up against the edge of where that pocket will be. Just press that down in place. And once that is stuck, we can pop some glue along these two edges, the two sides of our central pocket, and stick that in place. And that hides nicely those little tabs, and those pockets will fold in, and then the outer sides will fold in, and we'll have a little belly band that'll go around and hold it all in place. Now, in our large central pocket at the back, we're going to create a tag, and we're going to cut a piece of card 7 by 5 inches and then just trim the top corners off to make it into a tag shape. So this was a piece of card 7 inches by 5 inches. I've just measured an inch in across the corners and just taken the corners away to create this tag shape. I've taken this piece from my little stack of papers and just trimmed the width of it slightly so that it fits in centrally on my tag, and I'm just going to glue that in place with a little glue. So let's stick that down, and I'm just going to ink around the edge. This is frayed burlap distress ink. I'm just going to age the edge of this cardstock slightly. Next, we just need to punch a hole in the top and attach some fibres. And that's our big giant tag finished. So we can just set that aside while we continue to decorate the pockets and the little flaps on this card. Now I'm going to mat some contrasting card and then some patterned papers onto these. And for everything that I cut out, I'm going to leave a little border so that I see the different colours of the layers. I've gone ahead and matted and layered some panels to fit on the flaps and the front and the back of this card. And to ensure that I get an even border all around, I've cut them 1/2 inch smaller. So for example, these outer flaps were 3 inches by 6 inches. So I've cut these cardstock panel at 5.5 by 2.5, and then I've made the pattern paper just 1/4 inch smaller than that at 5.25 by 2.25, and that way I get a narrow coloured border, a slightly wider border around the outside, and it just provides a nice contrast. I've created 4 panels in that size so that I can do the outside and inside of these outer flaps. Now these inner flaps are slightly smaller, so I've cut my panels slightly smaller, again just to leave that same 1/4 inch border all the way around at the edge of them, and I've cut 4 of those to do the inside and the outside of there. I've cut myself a square panel that I can fit on the pocket inside to decorate that. And I've also cut a panel to put on the whole of the back and just matted that again on a couple of layers of cardstock. I've inked around the edge with the frayed burlap distress ink like we did on the tab. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue these in place, and then I'll be back again to show you what it looks like at that stage. Now that I've decorated the panels of this, and I've just started to embellish further, I've added a few die cuts here. These are the Sizzix Tim Holtz die cuts. They're called Winter Wonderland. So as you can see, just cut some deer out and stuck them on there. You can continue to embellish all the panels, you know, as you've got the time to do so. And there's our tab in the back. And you know, you can write a sentiment on the back of there. We need some way of holding this closed, and to do that we're going to create a belly band. So for that I've cut out a strip of the red card that's 12 inches long and 1.25 inches wide, and then I've put an inch wide strip of the cream card on top of it. And we're going to use this to wrap around and finish just with the die cut sentiment. This I've cut from that patterned paper stack that I'd got. I've just used one of my Gemini dies to do that. That's this torn edged oval set of dies. Now the easy thing for me to say would be score this at 3 inches and 9 inches. It's going to be too tight a fit if we do that. So the simplest way to do this I've found is line up, and I'm just using the scoreboard here as a measuring guide, lining up this card in the center between the 3 and the 9 inch mark. But rather than trying to score, I'm going to manually fold those edges up. Because we've got all the extra bulk of all the layers, if you scored this at 3 and 9, it would just be too tight. So as you see, we need this little bit of room here. So knowing that that is going to fit around, we can then just press it down and we can add this decorative oval to hide that join in the middle there. So I'm just going to glue that in place, and then we can fit this onto the card. And here we have our finished card. And that little decorative band just holds it shut, fits, you know, so it'll fit nicely in an envelope or a gift box. But we can remove that. And as I say, you can take the time to decorate as many of these panels as you want to with stamps, die cuts, sentiments, you name it. Write a sentiment or a message onto the tag inside. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back again next week with another video. But for now, that's all. Bye.